What is up, guys, and welcome to episode 22 of the Elite Self Show. In today's episode, I want to talk about a very important subject, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, which is managing and navigating the emotional roller coaster, and particularly the negative or disempowering sections of that emotional roller coaster. And the negative and disempowering sections of the emotional roller coaster in entrepreneurship tend to be fairly abundant, especially when you're new, especially as you're figuring yourself out and going through your own self-development journey and battling obstacles, battling adversity, learning the harsh lessons of business. The disempowering emotional states can be quite plentiful in regards of how often they come and also how hard they hit. And over the course of my entrepreneurship journey so far, I've been in business for 4.5 years. And before that, another 2 years of kind of trying different businesses and kind of starting to get my feet wet in this area. But in business, in this particular business, my current business, Elite Self Coaching, for 4.5 years now. And over that time, I was unaware of so many things, especially as it pertains to my own emotional environment. And as of now, the point I'm at, I obviously still have so much more room to grow and so much more to learn in both business and my own self-development and emotional environment. But I have learned a few lessons along the way that were very painful to learn. And my intent in today's video is to give you a bit of context around the emotional environment of entrepreneurship, how to navigate it, how to manage it. Whether you're a new entrepreneur or an entrepreneur that's been in the game for 10, 20 years, these things may serve as new insight or they may serve as just a reminder. But either way, I'm hoping it's useful for you in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to be going over 2 action steps that you can take when you're experiencing disempowering emotional patterns, and 3 mindset tips you can equip yourself with throughout your entire journey to give yourself a different frame to approach the journey with, which is often a very high leverage thing to do, especially when you're in those low emotional periods. So in regards of the action you can take when you find yourself in a very disempowering emotional state, I find that the vast majority of the time, there are 2 main routes you could go. You could go the route of simply just taking massive action and executing despite the emotion, or option number 2 is to evaluate what is the source of this emotion. And that is an entire rabbit hole that'll be super case to case. But that's the general kind of crossroads I've personally found myself at in many times in my journey. Now, in regards of the source, this could be a mindset thing. It could be a childhood trauma thing. It could be emotional patterns that you've conditioned yourself with throughout your life or that you've been conditioned with, or a vast majority of other internal factors. And so if there is something to address, this is a whole realm of education and understanding and practice that you can start to dive into, whether it's learning to regulate your nervous system and just breathe and just teach yourself how to come back to equilibrium. Or maybe it's training your mindset to focus on certain things that are within your control as opposed to things that are outside of your control, for example. Or maybe you have suppressed emotion for your childhood that tends to get activated in your entrepreneurship journey, and you need to address that. And there are many different methods to do that. But I just wanted to point those out as examples of different possible sources if you're experiencing negative emotions just coming up over and over and over again. That's option 2. Option 1 is often the cure for disempowering emotional patterns when it comes to entrepreneurship. A lot of the disempowering emotions we experience in business are due to not doing enough of the things that are within our control to move the needle forward in the ways we want the most. Those times where I was feeling down or anxious the most, or had the highest amount of self-doubt, or had the highest amount of overwhelm, was in those instances where I wasn't attacking, where I wasn't doing the necessary action to generate the results that I wanted. So you need to be on your game in regards of the action you're taking in both business and self-development. So are you doing your daily business standards? Are you doing the necessary action? Are you working on the high leverage projects? Are you reaching out to enough people? Are you posting enough content? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you attacking in your business? Are you dialed in with your self-development? The version of yourself you bring to the action you take in your business matters a lot. And so is your sleep dialed in? Is your nutrition dialed in? Is your hydration dialed in? Are you doing the things to optimize your mindset, your health, your energy? If you're not, everything else is a lot harder. But when you're dialed in with that stuff, it provides a much higher level environment to go and execute in your business. And everything increases in quality when you're dialed in on a personal level. So if you're experiencing disempowering emotions, you can kind of make a decision. Do I need to tighten things up in regards to my execution and take massive action here? Or is this a deeper problem and something I need to go solve at the root? So this is kind of the general crossroads you can use for yourself if it feels like it serves you in those moments in your journey when you're feeling super disempowering emotional patterns. Now, I did want to mention 3 mindset tips you can equip yourself with, because on the option where you evaluate the root, it could be a mindset thing. It could be a frame shift that you need. The way we view the world and the stories we tell ourselves and the frame and the perspective we have on certain situations dictates the emotions that we feel. So if you're feeling super disempowering emotional patterns, it could be due to some story or some frame that is causing those emotions. The first frame shift that I thought was profound, I heard Alex Hormozi say on a few of his podcasts, suggesting that this journey is hard and this is what hard feels like. And what this does, it just shifts your expectations. Like, this is how it's supposed to feel. Like, it's hard. You're going to go through it. You're in the trenches. It's going to be difficult emotionally. It's a roller coaster. You're going to get punched in the face over and over and over again. And that's okay. This is what we sign up for. And simply acknowledging that it's okay, that there's not something wrong with your life or wrong with your journey, and just acknowledging that this is how it is a lot of the time, can kind of take a load off. Because if you're constantly saying to yourself, it's supposed to be different, it's supposed to be easy, it's supposed to be all sunshine and rainbows, then every time it's not, reality doesn't meet expectation and you're going to feel like crap. Shift number 2 is acknowledging the fact that your grind is forging you into the version of yourself you must become in order to max out your true potential. So every challenge that you're experiencing, every setback, every heartbreak, everything that you're going through is forging you into the version you must become. We always exit the hard times as stronger, more aware versions of ourselves. In order for muscle to build, it has to get broken down. A person that has a completely easy sunshine and rainbows route doesn't develop themselves. But a person has to go through the grinder, learn tough lessons, develop character, develop skills, develop behavior patterns in order to just get through challenge over challenge. That is going to be a very high level person. And if you're going through hard times right now, that's the version of yourself that you're becoming. You're learning valuable lessons. You're gaining valuable skills. You're gaining key insights about yourself. And I'm sure you can even agree that you've already gone through seasons like this in your life where it was super hard, it was painful while you endured it, but afterwards, you wouldn't trade it for anything because of who it developed you into. But it's hard to remember that as you're going through the next challenge or the current challenge. And so it really is just important to remind yourself that this exact challenge that you're going through, whatever that may be, is forging you into the version of yourself you must become and that you're destined to become. And the last mindset tip I want to provide you guys with is kind of reorienting how you compare yourself to people. A lot of negative emotions, especially as it pertains to entrepreneurship and even fitness and many other things, comes down to comparing ourselves to others, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but this internal dialogue that typically follows can be fairly disempowering. And when you compare yourself to somebody who's ahead of you and start to shit on yourself for not being as far ahead as they are, that's when you can just fill yourself up with a bunch of discouragement and anxiety and overwhelm. And so it's good to compare yourself to others because people who are ahead of you, they're showing you what's possible. And a lot of people who are ahead of you, they're not different than you. They're not smarter than you. They didn't have a head start. They didn't have like a magical silver bullet. They're showing you how a normal person just like you can get the results that you want. And so be intentional about your comparison. Take from it the inspiration. Standing still in your lane while watching someone else move forward in their lane is not going to help you. So even if someone is further ahead in their lane, even further ahead by a lot, the only thing that you can control is moving ahead in your own lane. And take anything from the external environment, including inspiration from people that are ahead of you, to help you move forward even faster. Use it as nitrous. Use it as jet fuel to walk the next meter forward, to walk the next mile forward in your own lane. Because that's the only thing that matters, and it's the only thing that's within your control. So that's the episode, guys. This will be a constantly evolving model. This is just kind of how I perceive things after the lessons I've learned and the insight I've gained in my own journey. But I hope this was useful for you guys. I hope it helped in some way. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next one.